And I really got to the point where I was saying, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And if I could do something that I really loved, what would it be? And I kept coming back to photography. And at that point, I didn't really know what it would take to have a photography business. I wasn't aware of my own issues that eventually were going to kind of create some challenges for me. But I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. I got some money saved. I'm not married. I don't have kids. If I'm ever going to do this, and while I really appreciated being a lawyer, it was never really my passion in life.
Peter, where do you think this drive and this passion for helping others really comes from? Do you think it's kind of from experiencing difficulties in your past?
I've had challenges in my life. Everybody has challenges in their lives. I talk about this in the book. My childhood, probably not different than a lot of people's childhoods. I have nothing but appreciation and gratitude for my parents and the life that they provided for me and my siblings. And I can see a lot of my self-image that was not serving me came from a misperception. It came from a mistaken conclusion of a 6-year-old who didn't really understand what was going on around him and came to certain conclusions about himself and the other people in his life. And that was kind of the root. I mean, one of the things I emphasize over and over and over again in the book is that most of us are living a life that's based on the misconceptions of a 6-year-old. So beginning to see ourselves differently means going back and undoing a lot of that and seeing that stuff in a new way. The challenges that I faced in my life, I've been pretty lucky. I mean, there are people who have much greater challenges than me. So I'm not saying, I've climbed the biggest mountain, or, people have health challenges, financial challenges. Thank God my life has been pretty stable in that regard. But I think what I've been able to do, and what I try to convey in the book, is I've identified this challenge that it's a universal challenge that we all face. As I said, at one time or another, in one way or another, I think everybody has self-doubt, fear of failure, fear of success, and so I found a way to address that. And I think that's what I bring to the conversation.
And even in your video, you talk about challenges from the 2008 financial crisis. How important was it to stay resilient in those times?
For people who don't know my story, I was practicing law for almost 20 years in Los Angeles at the time that the global financial crisis hit in 2008. And I went in a matter of months from having a really nice life, actually, nice 6-figure income, working for myself, working from home, great clients, the whole thing, to having nothing. My business got wiped out with the global financial crisis. So I spent about 6 months trying to build my business back. And then eventually I was looking for jobs with production companies. I was sending out resumes. At one point, I was even sending out resumes for paralegal work, and nothing came. I mean, the financial crisis just devastated the economy. So I thought, how can I turn this into a positive? How can I make something positive come out of this? And I really got to the point where I was saying, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And if I could do something that I really loved, what would it be? And I kept coming back to photography. And at that point, I didn't really know what it would take to have a photography business. I wasn't aware of my own issues that eventually were going to kind of create some challenges for me. But I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. I got some money saved. I'm not married. I don't have kids. If I'm ever going to do this, and while I really appreciated being a lawyer, it was never really my passion in life. Photography was my passion. So I thought, let me give it a shot. And it was around that time that I decided to move back to the East Coast. My sister started having kids. I have 8 nieces and nephews, so I was constantly flying back and forth for birthdays and holidays and all of that. My parents were getting a little older, so I just thought, let me come back to the East Coast. So I really started fresh in 2009. It was a clean slate. And that was the beginning of my journey. And as I said, while I really appreciated the lifestyle and everything else that being a lawyer afforded me. Now, here's what's interesting. So one of the things that I do as a photographer is I license my photographs to newspapers, magazines, but I've also licensed my images for commercial use. And what happens is a company licenses my images and they send me a contract. And the contract is a license agreement. And I used to draft license agreements. So when they send me the contract, I go through it, I mark it up in red, and I send it back to them. And they get the contract back and they're like, who the hell are you? And I said, you didn't read my bio. So my background as an attorney has really served me. It's helped me with the business and legal side of being a creative person. And I always tell, new photographers, artists, you got to learn the business side of art. You have to learn how to protect your copyrights. You have to learn how to negotiate contracts. You have to learn how to market yourself. You got to know, if you want to be successful and you want to do it full time, you got to know the business stuff so you can really support yourself creatively.